the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a single plank in a vinyl plank flooring floor. Stick around. So what product we're using here is a Cortec product, which has the cork on the back of it. And if you can see right there, we've got a nice little scratch on the back of the surface of the vinyl plank. We're fixing to cut out this single board right here. That board all the way down from one end to the other. We're going to replace that plank with a brand new plank without damaging any of the flooring around it. So just to make it as simple as possible, I'm actually going to draw the lines here on my plank where I'm going to make my cuts and stuff. That way you can see exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take me a straight edge and I'm going to put it in the center of the plank. You don't have to measure it out, mark it out and stuff like that to get in the center. You just get fairly close the best you can. And I'm going to take a straight edge here and I'm going to a marker, and I'm going to go about 4 inches from that end all the way down to about 4 inches from that end. And the reason why I stopped right there on that, now what I'm going to do is come from a corner of the board right there, careful not to get markered on the surrounding boards, and I'm going to draw a line straight up to that. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm going to start here and go directly to my point, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on this other end as well. And this is the pattern in what we're actually going to cut our board out, okay? We're going to make a cut down the center and then to the corner and to the corner on both ends of the board. Okay, so in order to get these cut out, I'm going to use a little mini DeWalt saw. This holds a little 4.5 inch blade on it. And I am also going to be using this little multi-tool oscillating saw by DeWalt, okay? You don't actually have to have any of these if you are a DIY person and want to tackle this job yourself. You can by all means just lay your board down there, lay your straight edge down there and score this a whole bunch of times with your utility knife with a fresh blade in it. It might take quite a few passes with your blade to get cut all the way through the vinyl plank, but if you don't have the tools, that can be done, okay? If you happen to have just a regular circular saw, you can use that. The main thing you want to do is set your blade depth according to the thickness of your floor, okay? You only want to cut through the material. You do not want to cut into your subfloor. So make sure that you set the blade depth to the thickness of your floor, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go ahead with this saw right here because it's faster. I'm going to go ahead and make my long cut down the center of the board, and then I'm going to get as close as I feel comfortable to the corners of the board. Now, notice I said comfortable. I don't want to get too awful close because I do not want to take a chance on accidentally touching the surrounding boards and making a bigger problem than I already have, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make these cuts. Okay, so now that we got our cuts made straight into the board here, straight over here, and straight over here to the corner, I was going to use my oscillating saw to finish making these cuts from here to there, but since I was able to get close enough, I'm just going to use my regular utility knife with a sharp, fresh blade in it. That way I can be super careful, and I only have about a 1/2 inch of product to cut from here to that point there, okay? And the same thing here, about a 1/2 inch. And anytime, whenever you're making your long straight cut right here, and then you take your saw out and you make a corner cut right there to your corner, always look down in your crevice right here that you cut with your circular saw. Make sure that you go all the way through to your subfloor, okay? You don't want to have a little bit of backing showing right here to hinder you whenever you try to pull these pieces of vinyl plank out, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just take this knife. I'm actually going to start at the corner of my board and come to my cut versus coming from my cut over to the corner. If I do slip, I want to be coming to my cut board that I'm taking out rather than coming over here and slipping my knife off onto a board that's actually going to be staying. So start at your corner and just sink your blade through until you get it all the way cut through, okay? It is a little bit tough. This is a good product. All of them are going to be a little bit tough, but as you can see how I'm doing it, I'm just sinking it and wiggling it right there. Pull it out. That's going to be good enough right there. I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. Stick my point in there and wiggle it down. Okay. There we go. I think that is going to be good. If there is a little bit stuck left, now you'll notice I didn't actually go all the way. I left about 1/8 of an inch right there, which is quite okay. There we go. We're going to do the same thing on the other end of the board, and we'll be ready to pull it out. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do now is take my blade, and I want to raise up just a little bit here and get this pry bar under it enough to raise up enough to where I can get my fingers under it. Now with that, I'm going to just take and pull this right out like a page in a book, okay? It should come up, and then because this is a tongue and groove product, after I get it up, I'm going to pull forward on it like that, and that's going to release it from this board that it's locked into behind it, okay? So up and forward, okay? So that was actually locked into this right here. So we got one out. We're going to do the exact same thing to the front side. I'm going to have to get me a little bit of a pry on it just to get it started. Now, you might want to hold this because on this piece right here, we have this groove, okay? So this existing board here is now locked into this one. So we got to be real careful on this one not to cause any damage on our surrounding boards, okay? So I'm actually going to get my fingers under it right here, and I'm going to pound. There it went. It broke loose right there. It didn't break. It just released that bond that it had from locking in there, okay? Now I'm going to go up with it, just like I said a while ago. I'm going to go up and back this way, okay? There we go. Okay. Now that leaves the corner pieces. That is super easy to do now that we got this. We got our front piece and back piece out. Now these end pieces are locked in as well. Boom, up, and then pull to the inside just like you do the other two pieces, okay? We're going to do this other end. We're going to do this other end the exact same way. Up, did you hear that locking mechanism break apart there? And that didn't damage anything around it, okay? It simply broke this locking mechanism loose from the existing board, okay? So we got all of our board out. We didn't cause any damage here. I'm going to show you something real fast. I'll get a really good look at this so you can see that there is no damage caused anywhere on the surrounding boards. And then after that, we're going to vacuum it out and we'll be ready to manipulate our board that's going to go in here. Has to be modified a little bit so that it will go back in this spot, okay?